Hey y'all, so we're continuing in Psalm 23. I hope that you have enjoyed this week as much as I have. I'm telling you, when I've told you before that I love to get up in really early in the morning when everybody else is asleep. Well, that's when all of this came. These notes and my study time with the Lord. Joseph got up really early to go to the bathroom one morning. It was like 4:45, so it's 4:45, and got him back in the bed, and I was pretty awake, and I was like, I'm gonna go spend some time with the Lord. Y'all, it was amazing. And myself, like my flesh is like, we could go back and get in the bed for, hours, but I don't regret any of that time. And this word that came was so rich, and it just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So I encourage you, 15 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time, 30 minutes, whatever you've got, when it's just you and you have a minute, go be with him, because he is faithful to be with us. Whew, that's good. All right, so moving a little bit along, in that he restores my life, myself. Now, I will give you this. This is kind of a silly thing, but in the Amplified Classic, it said refresh or restore. And so refresh is to replenish, to become refreshed. But I kept thinking about like refreshing a computer page. And this is the silliest example, but when you refresh a page, it's like a start over. It's like a do over. And so that just kind of a little nugget thing for you to think about. But refreshing our soul, starting over, back to the beginning, back to where we started from. So that's good. But the next thing that he says, and I know that I won't finish this part today, so we'll pick it up again next week, but that he restores my soul, that he leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And that just goes hand in hand with he restores my soul. So that's back in right standing with God the Father. So it's we've been refreshed. We're starting out from the beginning here, clean slate. And then he leads me in paths of righteousness. Now the Amplified here says that righteousness is uprightness and in right standing with him. So he leads me in the way I should go, in the right way of doing things. He leads. We're going to start there. So you guys all know what that means, but of course in the Hebrew there, it's that he directs, he guides, and he shows us the way to go. And you know that the shepherd does that with the sheep, but then let's look at the good shepherd being our Father and us being his sheep. So that once we have been restored, once we are now in right standing with the Father, he leads, he guides, he shows us the way to go. And that was his intent. I'm convinced that was his intent for Adam and Eve in the beginning, that he was going to teach them. He was going to guide them, just like he wants to do to you and I now by his word, that he wants us to spend time in here to find out what we should do, which way we should go. Now, to direct, now this to guide on a way, especially by going on in advance, that he leads. The definition from Merriam-Webster's dictionary, because I'm a definition girl. It's to guide on a way, to guide, especially by going ahead. And that, we could delve in probably a week's worth of daily devos in just that he leads us by going ahead of us. My mom was talking to somebody this week, and my dad's been in heaven with Jesus for about 2.5 years now. And there are still days that it's extremely difficult that he's not here. There are things that I wish he could experience with us. There are, I wish he were still taking care of his business, but he's not. And so I'm anointed to do what I'm anointed to do. What I have to do, what is right for me to take care of, there's an anointing for me to carry it out. In business, in life, in relation, whatever, there's an anointing. If I have to do it, there's an anointing, because that's the only way it's going to get done. But she was talking to Dad, talking about Dad, and she said it just wasn't long enough. The time just wasn't long enough. It was too short, and And I know it was not God's will that my dad have a massive heart attack and die, leaving a wife, 2 kids, one grandchild here and one on the way, and a business. So it was not God's plan. Did he know it was going to happen? Absolutely. Was it God's will? No. Again, Adam and Eve clearly showed that we humans have a say in matters. But anyway, another time, another place. But, and so it's really tough some days. And who she was talking to said, you didn't face it before he did. Talking about the Father, like the Father dealt with this before you had to deal with this. He handled it before you had to handle it. And so I love just when she was telling me, I just sat back and thought, that's our good Father. The one who handled sin so that we wouldn't have to handle sin, because of course we couldn't. So he put us in right standing with him. He made a way for restoration to him. And that he leads us and goes before us. And so he has already handled whatever we have to handle. He has already made a way. He has already made provision. There is already strength available. There is already grace available for whatever we're going to face in this life. He has already been there and conquered it for us. If we would but choose to allow him to lead us. I was talking to somebody else. I know we're over time, but I was talking to somebody. I was actually in the Women in the Word meeting last week, and a lot of people talk about that Jesus leaves the 99 to go get the one sheep that was lost. But that one sheep had to cooperate to come back to the fold. He could have been uncooperative. Once he got back to the fold, he could have gone out again. He could have, fought against the shepherd. He could have kicked and screamed against the shepherd. But because that one allowed the shepherd to bring him back to the fold, he came back to safety. He came back to provision. He came back to everything that the Good Shepherd provides. And that's a tough decision, when we're in a place we really don't want to be in, to trust that the Good Shepherd is going to be faithful, that he is going to take care of us, that he is going to do what he said he would do. And but I loved this, that he guides us on a path, by going on in advance. And we'll pick up here again next week because there's a whole nother path I want to go on that. But I just want to encourage you today that there is nothing that you are facing that took the Lord by surprise. There are things that happen to us that were not of our doing and that we didn't ask for and that we can't stop. But that does not change the goodness of the Lord. He will take care of us. He will provide a way out, and he will carry us through. We are all over Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And that's another daily devo for another day. But I hope you have a wonderful day today, and I will see you tomorrow for our lives. Bye, y'all.